Ladies and gentlemen, although usually when I am singing or talking in this cathedral I don't have a microphone, I'm blessed with one tonight. My name's David Perritt, and I've had the privilege of playing with this orchestra for 15 or 16 years, playing flute, and I've had a wonderful, wonderful time. It is fitting that the concert this evening, which is really a birthday celebration for us as an orchestra, and thank you all so much for coming to share in this celebration. It is fitting that the concert is in the cathedral, because one of the original conductors, in fact I believe that he was a conductor in the first season, was Neil Holton, and Neil Holton actually was at that time the organist here at Christ Church Cathedral. So that's special in itself. As Richard has said, we've had over 500 musicians come through the gates, and some of them have gone out of them. I can see one very fine one right in front of me in the form of Arvid Landra, who we're very happy to see here tonight. But you haven't got your sticker on, Arvid. I can see you're supposed to have a sticker on. Oh, he had it in his pocket because he's very sort of, stylish. Didn't want to stick it on his jacket. Anyway, as amazing as it is that we've lasted 40 years, we had, in that first season 40 years ago, 3 first violinists who are still with us tonight. The first one is Ron McDonald. Ron Now listen to this next fact. Ron has led the orchestra for every concert we've done, with the exception of 1989, when he went on sabbatical. So now you can guess what he did for a living. So he was away in 1989, but for every other single concert, Ron has been in that chair. The second person who was playing in the first violins, but I don't know which desk they were at, was a lady, and her name is Sylvie Roy. Now, Sylvie's hips have grown a little larger. The instrument's hips have grown a little larger, and as a result of that, you find her sitting in the principal's chair of the viola section. The third young man that was sitting in the first violins, his hips have grown so much that he now has to hold his instrument between his knees. And his name is David Nielsen. Now, I hope you'll forgive us, but this was sort of designed as a sort of birthday party. I've told you that we had 500 musicians move through. There's a list, as Richard mentioned, just a little way back, so you can see if you can find your own name, even if it's not spelled correctly. And if you're in the orchestra, you should have a sticker, the same as Arvid does. What was I going to say next? I know, I want to turn the spotlight, if you would just live with me for a few moments. I want to turn the spotlight inward, because after all, it's a family celebration, a birthday party of this magnitude. So Richard already put the spotlight on David Adams. You all know David Adams. You know all of the wonderful things he's done. The one thing that Richard didn't mention is he was very instrumental in bringing the Sistema movement to New Brunswick, which is absolutely amazing for the children that participate. But what you don't know, when we look at David Adams, we see our conductor and artistic director who was with us for nigh on 20 years. So David actually conducted this band for 20 years. I have one small story which he's probably forgotten, but I've never forgotten it, and I have told this story a number of times over the years. We were rehearsing for, I think it was Nutcracker, and we were going to be accompanying dancers. On that occasion, I was playing first flute, and I said to David when we stopped, a particularly, in my view, difficult part. There were a lot of black notes, I know that. So I said to him, can't we just play a little bit more slowly? And he put his baton down and he said, David, if we play this any more slowly, the dancers will fall over. So I had to try my best to play the notes so the dancers didn't fall over. Anyway, that was David. The next person that I want to just put a little spotlight on is Richard Hornsby. Richard has been our conductor and musical director for the last 6 years. He's done a fantastic job. We have, I guess, created a closer bond with the university, and we've had some wonderful university players come and play with us. It's really a very exciting time, and I believe that we're growing from strength to strength. You know that he, for the last 24 years, has almost single-handedly, although that's probably not quite true, brought the New Brunswick Summer Music Festival to Fredericton. 24 years he's been doing it, and he's still at it now. So that's a wonderful thing. But he's also a wonderful clarinetist, and in a few moments, when I abdicate this position, he and Sam Arnold, who I'm going to talk about in a moment, will come on board, and you will find out for yourselves what sort of a clarinet player Richard really is. The next person in the program after that, I believe, is, who's the, oh, I know, Tommy Nicholson. Tommy Nicholson was a young man, I believe he lived in Oromocto, or perhaps it was Oromocto? He lived in Oromocto. He was a whiz pianist. He was also a wizard as a viola player. We knew him as a viola player. He now is studying composition at UBC, University of Victoria. He is experimenting with 21st century music, which leaves some of us slightly older musicians a little bemused, but I'm sure all of you will absolutely be thrilled at what you hear at the beginning of the second half. The person after that I want to spotlight is a young lady. She is my only friend with grape-colored hair. She really is my only friend with grape-colored hair. And her name is Heather Dunham. You probably know Heather Dunham as an organist. You might know Heather Dunham as the conductor of the marching band. You might know her as the conductor of the Fredericton Choral Society. We certainly know her as a conductor because she conducts us from time to time. But she is actually, and we know her as the principal trombone player in this orchestra. But she is mesmerizing as a pianist, and you're going to have the opportunity tonight to experience that also. Then after that, my family spotlight turns on Sam Arnold. Sam Arnold was the president of the orchestra when we were going through some difficult times, and he stuck to it and kept this whole thing going with us. He is a teacher, he is a composer, he is an arranger, he is a conductor, and you're about to see him conducting in a couple of moments. But he is also the principal bassoon player in our orchestra, which I regard as my family. Last but not least, you can imagine trying to organize a group like this with all these different instruments, with the logistics that we have, with the artistic temperaments that musicians have when they'll never listen to the instructions properly and bring stands when they're supposed to bring stands to a concert. You can imagine what it must be like trying to organize this group. And the last person I want to spotlight tonight is Libby Cassidy. Libby is our president, and she's like a ringmaster. And she needs to be like a ringmaster, but it's wonderful, and without her we wouldn't have got to the stage we're at tonight. And all the wonderful little bits, like the list of 500 players. Do you know how long that must have taken to get together? Libby. The show that's going to be on the screen at the end of the second half, all put together from the archives. Can you imagine how long that took? Libby. And so we go on, and she'll be squealing around here after the concert, making sure everybody else has done what they're supposed to do. So I hope that at this point I've done now, Libby, what I was supposed to do, and I would like to abdicate this position and invite Sam Arnold to come to the podium and Richard Hornsby to take center stage as the wonderful clarinetist that he is. Thank you.